He walked in looking for a quiet drink, but what he heard stopped him cold. The voice wasn't just beautiful, it was familiar, and it belonged to someone he thought he'd lost forever. Julian Hayes had closed deals in boardrooms that touched the sky. Billionaire, tech visionary, face of Forbes. He had it all. But tonight he wanted nothing. No parties, no cameras, just silence. So he stepped into a quiet, half-forgotten bar at the edge of the city, hoping no one would recognize him. He sat down, waved the bartender off, and was just about to check his phone when he heard the voice. It wasn't loud, it wasn't polished, but it was haunting. He turned slowly toward the small stage near the corner. There she was, standing beneath a flickering neon light, in a faded denim jacket and worn-out jeans, singing softly to a crowd that wasn't even listening. Julian's breath caught in his throat. Her name tumbled from his lips in a whisper. Lena. He hadn't seen her in 10 years. She was the girl who once sat beside him in college, scribbling lyrics on napkins, humming melodies in the library, believing in dreams while he chased deals. They had been close. Too close, until life split them in different directions. And now, here she was, singing for tips, unnoticed and unseen. Julian couldn't move. Because in that one moment, nothing else in the world mattered. Not the company, not the millions. Just the girl on that stage, and the pain hidden in her voice. Julian didn't wait for the song to end. He stood up slowly, walking toward the stage like he was moving through a memory. Lena didn't notice him at first. Her eyes were half closed, lost in the lyrics, her voice trembling near the end. A single coin dropped into the dusty guitar case in front of her. That was all. When she opened her eyes and saw him standing just a few steps away, her fingers froze on the guitar strings. Her breath hitched. Julian? He nodded, eyes locked on hers. It's really you. She blinked, stunned. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same, he said softly. Lena stepped back, suddenly self-conscious. She placed her guitar down gently, her hands shaking slightly. It's just a gig. I sing here sometimes. He looked around at the empty tables, the peeling paint, the bartender too busy wiping glasses to notice her song. You're still singing, but not where you should be. She gave a tired smile. Not everyone gets to live their dream, Jules. You were supposed to make it, he said, his voice tightening. You were the one with the talent. She shrugged. I had talent. I just didn't have time or money or people. Julian's jaw clenched. You had me. Lena looked away. I had you until you left. He felt the words like a punch. He hadn't meant to abandon her. He had chased his career, thinking there would always be time to go back. But she didn't wait. She couldn't. Now, 10 years later, here she was, singing for coins in a bar, too tired to care. But he cared. And in that moment, Julian knew. He hadn't come here by accident. He had been pulled here for a reason he wasn't going to ignore again. Julian sat with Lena at a corner booth, her guitar leaning quietly against the seat beside her. The room had mostly emptied, just a few late-night regulars mumbling over drinks. But for Julian, the entire world had narrowed to this moment, to her. He looked at her hands, still calloused from strings, still trembling slightly from that last song. Why didn't you ever call me? He asked gently. Lena gave a sad smile. Because I saw your life. The headlines, the suits, the success. You had everything. What would you have done with a girl who couldn't even afford rent? I would have come, he said without hesitation. I would have dropped everything. She looked at him, unsure. People say that, Julian, but life moves on. And I didn't want to be a burden. You were never a burden, he whispered. "You were the one person who made me feel real. Before the meetings, before the money. It was you." Silence stretched between them, filled with the weight of all the years lost. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small envelope. "I didn't come here with a plan," he said. "But I have a music label now, and inside this is a contract, one that puts your name where it always belonged, on a stage people actually listen to." Lena didn't take it. Her eyes stayed on his. "And if I say no?" "Then I stay," Julian said softly. "I sit here every night, coin after coin, until you believe you deserve more. Until you believe in yourself again." Her voice cracked. "Why are you doing this?" "Because," he said, his voice breaking for the first time, "the only thing worse than losing you once would be walking away a second time." Lena didn't speak. She just looked at him, with old hurt and new hope battling behind her eyes. And Julian? He knew he'd wait as long as it took, because some songs weren't meant for the charts. They were meant to find their way home. That night, Lena didn't give him an answer. She simply stood up, whispered, "Good night," and walked out with her guitar case. But something in her eyes had changed, just a flicker. Not trust, not yet, but something softer than doubt. Julian watched her go, then returned to the bar every night. And every night Lena was there. Sometimes she sang, sometimes she just sat with him in silence. Sometimes they laughed, and for a moment it felt like nothing had changed. And then, one rainy evening, she arrived early. No guitar, no stage, just Lena. She sat across from him, placed a single folded sheet of paper on the table, and said, "I wrote something new, for the first time in years, and it's because of you." He opened the paper slowly, lyrics written in her handwriting. Raw, honest, beautiful. She watched him read, her heart pounding. "If you still mean what you said, about the label, about helping me record." "I do," he said immediately. "Then let's do it," she whispered, "but not as a favor, as a chance." Julian smiled, relief washing over his face. "It was never a favor, Lena. It was always a second verse we never finished." Weeks later, her voice echoed in a real studio. Her name began to appear in quiet corners of music blogs, and her story, the girl who sang for coins and got rediscovered by fate, started to spread. But Lena didn't care about the headlines. She cared about the man who never looked away when she had nothing. The man who came back and didn't just listen to her music, he heard her. And Julian? He didn't just get her signed, he got her back. Because sometimes, love doesn't return with roses or rings. Sometimes, it returns quietly. One song, one chance, one moment at a time. If this story touched you, share it forward. Because you never know who just needs someone to believe in their song again.